So we have this expansion x plus y squared, and the first term will always be x squared, which is here, and the last term will always be y squared, which is also here. Then whatever's in the middle will be as a result of all of this binomial theorem. So that's another way on how you can realize that you've already reached the end of your expansion. So you have y power 4, which is the same as the last term from this. So already I know my first term in this expansion will be x power 4, and the last term in this expansion will be y power 4. So I've already reached y power 4, so there's no need for me to go further. Now this is how the expansion works. So now I'm going to be solving from this. So let's do this step by step. So we have x power 4 plus 4 choose 1. 4 choose 1 is the same as 4 factorial over 4 minus 1 factorial into 1 factorial, because this, you need to remember this. So it's going to be 4 factorial into divide by 4 minus 1 factorial into 1 factorial. This is the same as 4 factorial over 3 factorial into 1 factorial, which is 4 factorial, 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divide by 3 times 2 times 1 times 1, because 1 factorial is just 1 times 1, so it's just going to be 1. So 1 factorial is always 1. So we have some common terms. We have 3 2 1, 3 2 1, so this goes and this goes. So I'm left with 4 divided by 1, which is equal to 4. Therefore 4c1 or 4 choose 1 is equal to 4. So by the use of this formula, I'm getting it as 4. So you just need to familiarize yourself with the formula, and then after that solving the equation becomes very easy. So 4c1 or 4 choose 1 is 4. So it's going to be 4 into x power 4 minus 1, which is x cubed, into y, plus 4c2. What is 4c2? This is the same as 4 factorial over 4 minus 2 factorial into 2 factorial. I'm just using the formula. It's just a matter of substituting values so that you can get your answer. So this is the same as 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divided by, this is 2 factorial. 4 minus 2 is 2, so 2 factorial. So that's the same as 2 times 1, because I'm multiplying. Once I reach 1 in the factorial bit, that's the end of the expansion. So 2 factorial is the same as 2 times 1. This is again 2 factorial, so 2 times 1. So basically whenever I reach 1, that's the end. So I have 4 times 3 times 2 times 1, which is 4 factorial, divided by 2 times 1 times 2 times 1, which is 2 factorial times 2 factorial. So let's cancel stuff out. So I have 2 times 1 here and I have 2 times 1 here. So that leaves me with 4 times 3, which is 12, divided by 2 times 1, which is 2, and that gives me 6. So 4c2 or 4 choose 2 is actually 6. So it's going to be plus 6 into x power 4 minus 2, which is 2, y squared. That's how it is. Then we move on to the next term, 4 choose 3 or 4c3. So 4c3, what will that be? So I have 4 and 3 here. So let's try to solve that. So again, it becomes very easy. All you need to do is just substitute it into the formula which I had said earlier, that if you have NCR, you have n factorial over n minus r factorial into r factorial. It's very similar. NCR is equal to n factorial over n minus r factorial into r factorial. So my r is 1 in this case, just in case you are confused. So this is what you need to remember. This is it's a formula that you need to remember in order to do questions like this. So NCR is the same as NR in brackets, stuff like that. So let's do this. So what's 4c3? This is the same as 4 factorial over 4 minus 3 factorial into 3 factorial. So my r in this case is 3 and n is equal to 4. So I'm just using the same formula. So 4 factorial, 4 minus 3 factorial, 3 factorial. So what is this? 4 times 3 times 2 times 1 divide by 1 factorial. This is the same as 1 factorial, and 1 factorial is just 1 times 1, so that's just 1, into 3 factorial. What's 3 factorial? 3 times 2 times 1. That's how you do it. So I've reached 1 in 3 factorial, so I just stop there. So 3 factorial is 3 times 2 times 1. So whenever I reach 1, I just stop. So I have 3 times 2 times 1, which can cancel with this. So that gives me 4 divided by 1, which is 4. Therefore, 4c3 is equal to 4. So let's continue this. So I have this bit. So plus 4 into x power 1 y power 3. 4c3 is 4, and that's what I've just used. So I've just substituted. So 4 into x power 4 minus 3 into y cubed, plus the last bit 4c4. What is 4c4? 4c4, 4 factorial over 4 minus 4 factorial into 4 factorial. So already I know that this and this will cancel out. So I have 1 divided by 0 factorial. What is 0 factorial? 0 factorial is actually 1. This is one thing you need to also remember. 0 factorial is equal to 1. Let me explain why. Because basically NCR, so this means essentially in how many ways can n objects be chosen taking r at a time. So taking r of them at a time. Therefore, suppose if I have 4c2, yeah, so I have 4 and 2. So basically this is saying in how many ways can 4 objects be chosen taking 2 at a time. So the answer is actually 6. So we'll get to that later, but just know that this means in how many ways can n objects be chosen taking r of them at a time. So in how many ways can 4 objects be chosen taking 2 of them at a time. So from there on we can say that in how many ways can 4 objects be chosen taking 4 of them at a time. So I've got 4 objects and I need to take 4 of them at one time. So I can only take the whole thing. So therefore there's only one way. If you think about it that way, there's only one way, and that's the same as the answer here. So therefore this is why 0 factorial is equal to 1, because this is the same as 1 divided by 1, which is 1. So always remember that 0 factorial is equal to 1. This is one thing you should remember. This you won't get it in any formula booklet or anything like this. These two you will, but always remember 0 factorial is 1, because in how many ways can you take 4 objects and you have 4 of them which you have to take at one go. So you can only have that in one way. That's why 0 factorial is 1. Another way on how you can think of this is in how many ways can you arrange 0. You can only arrange 0 objects in one way, because there's no possible arrangement actually. So just remember that 0 factorial is 1. So let's continue. So because 4c4 or 4 choose 4 is equal to 1, this is the same as 1 into x power 4 minus 4. What's 4 minus 4? 0, and any number power 0 is 1. So this is x power 0 into y power 4. So this is my new thing. So after doing the binomial expansion, that's the new thing I'm getting. So let's solve that. So I have x power 4 plus 4x cubed y plus 6x squared y squared plus 4xy cubed plus y power 4. So this is the answer to the equation. X power 4 plus 4x cubed y plus 6x squared y squared plus 4xy cubed plus y power 4. Now I want you to notice this other thing. This is x power 4, x power 3, power 2, power 1, power 0. So the powers are decreasing for the a term or for the x term. The first term in this bracket, the powers will decrease. The last term in the bracket, y, the second term, its powers will actually increase. So I have y power 0, power 1, 2, 3, 4. So my first term is x power 4, my last term is y power 4. That I told you at the beginning. And because of that, the powers of the first term will decrease and the powers of the last term will increase. And this 4, 6, 4, we got that by actually doing this thing. We were actually able to compute the choosing of the values. So 4c1, 4c2, 4c3 and 4c4. So we just need to plug this in the formula and from there we'll be able to get it. And one more thing you need to remember is that 0 factorial is equal to 1. So once you remember all of that, I know it's a bit tricky and it's a bit complicated and technical, but if you are able to get used to all of this, this will be very easy and it will actually be a fun topic to do. Therefore, this becomes your answer.